Okay, just to get the elephant in the room out of the way before any of you ask, yes, I've been gone for quite a long time. I don't want to dwell on why, so I'll just say briefly, I've been very busy with work and trying to move with my boyfriend and such, so I've had really no time to be thinking about YouTube at all. But since this whole virus thing happened, my life has kind of been put on hold, so as a distraction from that, I've given myself time to think about content that I might want to do and such. So I thought I might come back and just make some videos in the meantime. And I know that I said I'd review The Meg as my next project, but honestly, halfway through making the video, I kind of got bored. I might go back to it because I've already started editing the video, but the movie just isn't as fun to review as something like Guardian of the Universe or Circus Kane, so it felt kind of tedious to make, and my policy is, if I'm not enjoying a video, I stop making it. Like, yeah, some of these reviews are really hard to make, but if I'm really just not feeling it, then I tend to stop. So, yeah, I'm doing this film instead, sorry. But yeah, with all of that out of the way, let's get into the review. So, despite the fact that I love them, I haven't really been watching as many bad movies as I was hoping for in recent months. I've been so preoccupied with work and stuff that it's not really been a top priority for me, and obviously everyone else has been worrying about Corona, so that's been on my mind too, and it's kind of been distracting. My downtime has mainly been consisting of me trying to make time to draw and my personal trainer sessions, since girls tired of being chubs, man. However, with this quarantine and the fact that I'm not working at the moment, I've had more time on my hands and a desperate desire to distract myself from my lack of gym workouts and human contact. So, as well as watching basically every episode of The Simpsons all over again, I've been watching a few bad movies, and this one in particular made me want to make a video. Desperately. I have never found a film that encompasses everything that I can't get enough of when it comes to Z-rated movies in my local Tesco, but here we are, I guess. A cover that flat out lies to you, acting that's somehow even less believable than The Room, a plotline that would never conceivably happen in real life, not because of the absurdity of the situation, but because the characters' actions are not indicative of them being humans from Earth. Well, our Earth, at least. The sound design just being the absolute worst, with reused background music every 10 minutes or so. I can't stress to you guys enough how much I absolutely love these things when they're mixed together in a terrible movie. But let us back up a little. What the hell is this movie? And why did I pick it up in Tesco so I had something to watch with my Indian takeaway on a Friday night? Well, Joker Clown, originally titled Clown Doll, or Meet Oliver, is a horror movie that was released in 2019 and then re-released in 2020 with a new cover, new name, and new opportunity to trick old people into thinking that they're either picking up Joker or It Part 2, and actually make some money. As always, I took a peek at the director Scott Jeffrey's IMDb page and noticed that he's worked on movies similar to this one before, such as The Bad Nun from 2018, which was originally titled The Watcher. I bet y'all can guess what movie that's supposed to be ripping off. He's also worked on a film called Cupid that me and my brother were actually going to watch back in February before quarantine started when we were with my dad, but the internet was so bad at his place at the time. Maybe we'll have to go back to it. Also, Scott's working on a film called Bats: The Awakening, set to release in 2021. I am unironically excited for that. I have a really weird morbid curiosity with these films. Anyway, back to Joker Clown. As mentioned before, Joker Clown is one of many movies that completely lies to its potential audience by disguising itself as a decent movie with an actual budget? Much like The Beaster Bunny, this movie clearly paid someone to make them a fancy cover with a clown that never appears in the movie, by the way, and the new title to catch people's eye. However, and I hate that I have to give the Beaster Bunny any kind of credit, but Beaster Bunny may have lied to us about what the bunny looked like using the cover to make the movie look more high budget than it actually was, but Joker Clown takes the absolute piss with this idea in comparison to it. Thanks, Joker Clown, you're making me defend the fucking Beaster Bunny of all things. I hope you're happy. Not only is the cover using a clown that looks nothing like the clown in the movie, but they even add a picture of the clown on the back of the DVD case, alongside stills of the actual final product, the cheeky shits. This is implying that he definitely is in the film because he's alongside pictures from the actual movie itself, and that this is the clown that we're going to be getting as our main antagonist. I mean, guys, you can't imply that the villain of your movie looks like this when it looks like this.
Scott!
And not only that, but when the movie initially came out and was called Clown Doll, the cover looked like this. And this clown isn't in the movie either. So this wasn't some kind of last-ditch effort to try and make people pick up the film. They'd been using a deceptive cover from the start of the process of making this movie. Joker Clown's whole marketing is just flat out built on lies. I mean, yeah, the Beaster Bunny did show two decent-looking bunnies on the back and the front cover in comparison to what we got in the movie, but at least they didn't show stills from the film to try and trick people into thinking that the bunny definitely looked like the one on the cover. I'm sorry for dwelling on this, but it's just the thing that made me laugh the most when I was watching the movie, other than the ridiculous plotline, acting, sound design, and characters. Speaking of, I should probably jump straight into explaining what happens in this movie. I mean, honestly, I couldn't find much in terms of background on the film, and the meat and potatoes of why I decided to make a video lies in the film itself, not its origin story. And after all, I watch these things so you don't have to. The way this movie starts is probably the most ridiculous and crazy opening to a movie I've ever seen. Everything that happens isn't explained or expanded upon in any way, and the acting is just...
People won't believe our story. They won't believe our story. They won't think it. They're gonna think it's us. They won't think it's this. They need to see it.
I don't fucking care anymore.
This woman in particular is mad. And this guy was in The Curse of Halloween Jack, the sequel to The Legend of Halloween Jack. Yep, that movie has a sequel, and you can bet that at some point I'm going to be reviewing it. It's on my extremely long-ass list of movies to cover. And if his acting is anything like this...
That thing is pure evil. It needs to die!
I feel like I might enjoy The Curse of Halloween Jack, I don't know. Anyways... So, essentially, these two have experienced something relatively messed up involving this clown, which we really don't learn about, and I guess they came to this abandoned warehouse to try and either get rid of it or figure out what the hell to do about it, which they argue about at length. Despite this, however, the guy decides to go outside and take a phone call. Like, wait, you want to destroy this thing, right? It's supposedly, like, really dangerous, and it could kill you too, and it's apparently killed people that you know, including your daughter?
Did you kill those people? Did you kill our daughter?
So, is now really the time to be leaving your friend alone with it when she is clearly scared shitless of it, and take a phone call? Can it not wait until after you deal with it? Like, mate... And just as everyone suspected, once the man was out of the room, the clown wakes up and kills the woman, which I was actually kind of upset about because I wanted more of her. Hashtag more crazy Asian woman. Anyway, the guy ends up dying too, very preventably, might I add? And then boom, title card. Now, we're introduced to the main character, Lane. And I have to say, as main protagonists go, Lane is the most ridiculous, irrational, stupid, unsympathetic, selfish horror movie main character I have ever seen in one of these movies. Her character is given so much background and a decent storyline, if you will, and I guess that's supposed to make us care a bit more about her and hope the clown doesn't murder her, but her actions are so moronic and harmful to the people around her that I just can't like her. And honestly, I was hoping that the doll was going to kill her at some point in the movie. As I describe what happens later down the line in the film, you'll understand more and more of what I mean, but honestly, this character is just so fucking unlikable. So, the basic story here is that Lane is being a surrogate mother to her stepbrother and her sister-in-law's child, which, when I initially watched this with my boyfriend, we were both a bit weirded out by the idea of a family member giving birth to your child, even if they're stepfamily. However, I did look it up and apparently it's more common than I thought it was, so I guess I learned something because of this movie, which is probably the one good deed that Joker Clown has ever done, kinda. So thanks, I guess. But anyway, the supposed dynamic here is that her family are overbearing and they're always involved in her life, and initially it does seem a bit annoying despite her being very heavily pregnant and carrying her stepbrother's child. God, that soundbite sounds very bad out of context. But you can feel for her annoyance at how her family behave at the beginning of the film. But as the movie goes on, we discover things about Lane that make it a lot more understandable. I mean, she was in an abusive relationship up until semi-recently. She has very damaging mental health issues that led her to take medication before and be really reliant on it. She makes really stupid decisions that put her and the child in her body at risk constantly, and she doesn't have her own place and stayed at her mother's before her stepbrother and sister-in-law rented her a house with no clear indication that she was ever going to get a place of her own. Like, I think, personally, that her family have every reason to be overbearing and involved in her life, especially her stepbrother, considering she's carrying his child. She complains constantly about it, but her complaints with all the context behind everything just come off as those of an ungrateful, spoilt brat. I mean, even if the only thing about her character was that she came out of an abusive relationship, her family being overbearing would be completely understandable.
When are you getting a proper place?
Oh, God. How did I know that was coming?
Yeah, you were living in her house until today, and you're a grown-ass woman. She has every right to ask you when you're getting your own place. It's not that unreasonable of a question. Like, guys, do you see what I mean? Spoilt bitch, man. So, she finds the clown in the shop, which I guess is a second-hand shop of some kind, and she decides to buy it after being pushed by the shopkeeper. And there is so much wrong with this scene that I need to pause the movie's progression just to express the issues that I have with it, because there are quite a few. Okay, firstly, this whole movie should have ended here realistically, because no sane human being would buy this fucking doll. It's damaged as all fuck. It's massive and would take up a ridiculous amount of space, because you have to understand, this doll is the size of a human being. She says later that it smells of fire, whatever the fuck that means.
You smell of fire.
I think you meant to say it smelt burnt, you dumb bitch. And it is creepy as all fuck. Even if Lane is supposedly a horror movie fan, which her mother mentions later as a reason as to why she would buy that thing.
I would have liked it when I was younger.
But I don't think a lot of other boys and girls used to stay up late to watch The Exorcist like you used to.
That wouldn't even make sense as a reason for her to buy it. Listen, I'm not the arbiter of what makes a real horror movie fan, but in my personal opinion, if she were a horror movie fan like me, for example, not to toot my own horn, she wouldn't buy something like that because she'd be paranoid about it coming to life and murdering her. Most horror movie fans buy replicas of actual existing horror movie icons like Chucky dolls or Freddy Krueger figures, or like a branded doll selection of some kind. They don't buy random damaged life-size dolls. I mean, it smells like it's burnt and it looks creepy as fuck. Do you want a haunting? Because this is how you get a haunting. But not only that, her own justification for buying it makes absolutely no fucking sense whatsoever.
It'd be a lovely gift for your baby.
How much is he?
Really? You'll give the poor thing nightmares.
I think it's nice. I would have liked it when I was younger.
First of all, it's not your fucking baby anyway, and considering how overbearing your stepbrother and his wife are being, they wouldn't let the baby anywhere near that thing. She gave you shit for eating sugar, for fuck's sake.
Lane was saying, sorry Lane, you were saying that she's getting cravings for sweet things, and personally, I wouldn't eat those kind of things when pregnant. I just feel like the baby's essentially going to come out crying and craving these, you know, like a drug addiction, like smoking. Wouldn't you agree?
You think she's gonna let her newborn baby near a nearly 6 foot tall clown doll that's damaged, creepy, and smells like it's been burnt? Are you insane? And no one would let this creepy ass clown anywhere near their newborn baby out of fear of giving them tetanus or making them so scared that they cry and rock back and forth saying, "Can't sleep, clown will eat me." So, no movie, you're not going to convince me that Lane buying this clown is something that would ever happen in real life. Fuck off with that shit. This movie should never have happened.
Where'd you get him?
Well, we acquired him about a week ago. But I know that he's going to sell very quick because it's very rare to get a doll this size.
Also, why the fuck is the store clerk being this forward and ambiguous? A minute ago, she couldn't care less about these two, and now she's suddenly super invested in Lane buying the doll. But we never get a reason? We don't know if she knows that the clown is haunted, or she just really wants to get rid of it because it looks bad.
You like him, don't you?
She just sells it to Lane and is never seen again. Like, maybe explain movie?
Make me an offer.
I don't know how much they usually cost.
Come on.
50?
Done.
50 quid, mate, you got robbed. So she buys it, she takes it home, and...
I asked you not to use this number again.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, sorry. I thought you were someone else.
No worries. So how's it going?
This is Lane. I'm not sure if you have the wrong number.
Looks like I do.
Do I sense a Scream ripoff? So she starts getting phone calls from this random guy called Oliver Reed, and it's very obvious to the audience that the clown doll is related to this in some way, and this whole subplot will help display how unlikable Lane is later, but be patient guys, we'll get to it. But yeah, the whole scene just seems to be like it's trying to be creepy like Scream, but it just comes off as wince-worthy with how Lane tries to flirt.
You've got a pretty warm, inviting voice. I got the feeling you wanted me to go back.
Your voice isn't so bad either.
God, I'm taken back to when I was 18 and just got to uni. Yikes. Now, one thing that I do kinda commend this movie for is that it does at least attempt to give its characters some kind of individual backstories and motivation, even if it is extremely surface level and minimal. Like Lane's friend here, for example. She's just gotten engaged, and she seems to be the bestie that has her life together and tries to stop Lane from making absolutely moronic decisions. I mean, she fails, but she still tries. I would appreciate this a lot more if the storyline were a bit more fleshed out and Lane wasn't so unbearable herself. But I guess because this is a dumb movie about a murderous clown doll, the director wasn't going for the in-depth character study vibe.
It's secondhand. Yeah, of course it's secondhand. Better watch you don't get scabies from that thing.
Scabies? What an obscure disease to mention.
Why did you find out? I thought they were fine with you giving them the baby.
Oh shit, a flubbed line. That's the first one I've seen in this. That's pretty good. I mean, considering the movie we're watching.
Oh, sorry.
What a weird scene. So as the movie goes on, Lane and her friend leave, but somehow her friend manages to get back into the house by herself, despite the house only just having been rented by Lane's family and her mother and stepbrother seeming to be the only ones with keys, and her friend not having been established as having one, but whatever, logic doesn't matter when you're dealing with a murderous clown doll, I guess. Anyway, she leaves her phone in the house and goes back, which leads to one of the most illogical death scenes I think I've ever watched in my life. Okay, first of all, did you not see him grip that pencil? Also, can I just say that the practical effects guy is the guy you want to be? In all seriousness though, those effects are actually better than I expected. That's not saying much, but it's something. Okay, so the way the clown doll kills this girl is he throws a broken piece of a plate or a mug and it goes through the bottom of her shoe, which looks like a Converse's shoe, and she starts bleeding as if she's just gotten stabbed like crazy in her foot, and then he stabs her in the head. Now, I can't even begin to explain what is wrong with this scene without just flat out proving how dumb it is myself. So for this segment of the video, I want to prove that the way that clown killed that girl is physically impossible. And for that, we need a broken piece of a plate or a mug or something. So this is the cheapest thing we've got. So, goodbye. Okay, seeing as that didn't work, I am going to try that again and hope that it actually breaks. Do you think I should just
like chuck it, yeah?
Oh god, okay. This is gonna be so loud, the neighbours are gonna be mad. Wow, fuck. Okay, so since we can't seem to break that cheap ass plate, we are gonna use a different plate, and this one's a lot thinner, so hopefully it'll actually break this time. Okay, this is the last time I'm attempting this, because I don't want to make the neighbours mad. Well, why are all of the plates in this house indestructible? Okay, so because we can't get a piece of broken plate because my experiment isn't working, I'm gonna do something else which may look quite dangerous, but I promise you guys I won't get hurt. So I'm gonna use this knife instead, and just kind of like gently tap, because I'm wearing actual Converses, which is what she was wearing, and I'm gonna just tap the, so I'm just gonna show you guys. That's about the force it would have hit with. And look, this is a sharp ass kitchen knife and it isn't even entering the bottom of my shoe. Because these are fucking thick. So, just saying, but she would not have gotten stabbed in the foot, and she would not be bleeding as much as she was. Edward's seen the scene. Back me up.
Nope.
Back me up.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. I mean, I mean, for a film called Joker Clown, what do you expect?
So yeah, that was my, I went to a ridiculous lengths to try and prove my point there, but yeah. Anyway, all that aside, her friend goes missing, and Lane gets a call from Oliver again.
Where do you live?
I'm close by.
How do you know where I live?
You have the same area code as mine. So, what's your name?
Lane. Yours?
Okay, this girl is actually just asking to be murdered. Like, she's a horror fan. No horror fan would be this dumb when it comes to their information. Like, come on. He knows your area code, your home number, and name. He could easily find your house and murder you. Woman, you are heavily pregnant. Why the actual hell are you not being more careful about your safety? Do you guys see what I mean? It's no wonder that your family are always checking up on you and asking about you. Jesus Christ. So, this cop comes by her house because of her friend going missing, and this woman is, I'm not kidding when I say this, the worst actress I have ever seen in anything ever. I'm not exaggerating, I have seen some bad acting in my time, but this woman takes the absolute fucking biscuit.
Are you accusing me of something?
Wow, wow, wow. Big words. No one's accusing anyone of anything yet. You leave your front door key under the mat. Your daughter was the last person to see Jamie Chambers, so we just want to find her and bring her home.
I think the thing that makes it the most funny is that she's clearly actually trying to act, but it's just not working. No hate to the actress herself, because she brought me loads of entertainment watching this. It's just every line she speaks just feels like she's not a real human, and every scene she's in is just so unintentionally hilarious that for a moment, I actually forgot I was supposed to be watching a horror movie. Okay, so here is the scene that actually made me want to start despising Lane as a character, and it made me feel absolutely no sympathy for her whatsoever. So here's what happens. Her mother finds out that Oliver's been calling the house, and that her heavily pregnant, mentally ill, irresponsible, fragile daughter has been talking to a complete stranger on the phone in her huge house that she lives alone in, and leaves the key under the mat on top of that, after she literally just got out of an abusive relationship that was so bad that her ex managed to contact her and get her home number without contacting anyone that she or he knows, somehow.
Daniel?
Hey, guys.
How did you get this number?
And this incredible exchange happens.
Oh, for God's sake, Lane! You can't just be having random conversations with strangers on the phone!
What?
I usually don't side with the parents when it comes to stuff like this, but yeah, she is right.
It's the same as talking to anyone on the street. Like, anyone. How is this any different? If anything, it's safer.
Are you mentally retarded? Talking to a stranger in the streets is way fucking safer than talking to a stranger on the phone who knows your home number, area code, and name. Like, are you kidding me? At least in the streets, there's a chance that there will be other strangers that can help you out if the stranger gets creepy, and the stranger on the street isn't gonna know where you live unless you tell them or they follow you home. Oliver can easily find out where you live with a quick Google search, you absolute fucking idiot. It's like she's a teenager being told that she's not allowed to go to a party. It is so fucking annoying. Anyway, her mum goes home and the doll manages, without anyone noticing his nearly 6-foot body move, to sneak into her mother's car and get into her home to murder her. Something that I just cannot understand about this film more than anything else is how the director expects people not to constantly just ask questions about the ways in which logic is thrown out of the window.
Harsh breath when she realized he launched it, knowing
Wait, weren't you about to stab her? I really don't understand what just happened. Like, why did he go to stab her and then just throw the radio in the bath? Like, why... Why did you change your method halfway through? Anyway, now her mum's disappeared, so Oliver calls her to let her know that he killed somebody, and we get the most Oscar-worthy performance of all time.
I killed someone, Lane.
Oliver, you should call the police.
It wasn't the first time. I've done it before, Lane.
It wasn't an accident?
Lane's acting really shines in this scene.
Oliver? You need to call the police. Never call this number again, okay?
Don't
call
go.
the police, okay?
Don't go, or I can't tell you how I told your mother.
The cop pops by because of her mother going missing and continues to be an absolute legend in terms of her acting skills.
Your mother, Dee. She was last seen with you.
Aye, so basically, it seems like the police are starting to suspect that Lane has something to do with the disappearance of these people in her life since they were all last seen with her. So, as a way to absolve herself of suspicion, Lane tells the cop about Oliver calling her and admitting to killing her mother. And that's when we find out that Oliver Reed is a serial killer that died years ago. But regardless, it becomes really obvious that Oliver's spirit must be in the doll and he's using some kind of magical bullshit to cool the house. Now, this is one of the aspects of the movie that I think really let me down, and this is just a personal nitpick, but to me it's kind of important. Why not explain why Oliver ended up in the body of the clown doll? Because the movie never explains what magical bullshit occurred to make this happen. In fact, we get no backstory about Oliver and his view of things. The movie just kind of expects the audience to accept that this could happen, Oliver's evil, and he's ended up in the clown doll somehow, and blah 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 blah. I mean, it's not that important since this is just a silly movie about a killer clown, but like, even the most reductive horror movies with this kind of premise have explanations so as to not make the audience guess how their plots even came to fruition. I mean, the legend of Halloween Jack has his body struck by lightning after having blood seep into the grave, and since he was dressed as a scarecrow when he died, it just kind of made sense for him to come back as one. And his motivation to come back to life was revenge. Like, it's complete fucking nonsense, but at least the writers actually gave us a reason as to why he came back. Same with Drone, for fuck's sake, the movie about a killer drone. The guy whose soul is put into the drone says some binary and lightning strikes him and then his soul is in the drone. It's fucking stupid, and Elvis the Alien did a really good video on this movie, which I'd recommend, link in the description. But it's an explanation, if not a completely moronic one. I mean, hell, the best example of this is Child's Play. Chucky knows voodoo, and that's how he manages to transfer his soul into a doll. And his motivation is that he was shot and he's cornered by a cop and he doesn't want to die or be put in prison. Like, I'm not gonna lie, even with Child's Play, it's bullshit, but it's understandable bullshit. And it's something that continues through the plot, like he's constantly trying to use voodoo to get his soul transferred into Andy's body. I mean, what explanation does this movie give? None. And the other thing with all these movies is that they all give their main antagonist some kind of personality or some kind of motivation, and we learn about the antagonist. I don't know fuck all about Oliver Reed. I mean, what situation could this serial killer possibly have been in that he would die and his spirit would be transferred into a doll? What was his motivation to be brought back? I want to actually know this stuff. This shit would be way more interesting than the frivolous nonsense that we got. I'm sorry, right, but I'm somebody who likes lore in my horror movies, even if it's stupid, and the fact that this doesn't have any is kind of disappointing. But yeah, that's a small nitpick, sorry. So, this whole situation leads to Lane's sister-in-law to decide to stay over for the night and her stepbrother to be worried about Lane's mental health because he found the medication that she was supposed to have stopped taking on the side in the bathroom. And this begs another question. If you knew that her mental health was deteriorating this much, and that she felt reliant on pills that you don't personally want her taking, why on God's earth did you ask her to be your surrogate mother? From how Lane acts, she seems childish and not stable, so she doesn't really seem like someone you'd want to carry your baby. They might have been desperate for someone to do it, but damn dude, maybe vet the biological mother of your child a bit more before you plant your seed in her. But anyway, Lane continues to show how much of a shit person she is by basically saying, I know this is supposed to be your baby and I promise to carry your child for you, but you're being mean to me so I'ma keep it, losers, nah.
And while you have our baby inside of you, you gotta look after yourself. You got that?
Your baby? The baby is inside me. It isn't your baby, it's mine. And if you keep going the way you're going, I will be keeping it.
What a bitch. Anyway, she makes up with her sister-in-law beyond any reason and logic because I would not forgive her for what she just said, and tells her that she's having a girl because this sneaky bitch went and found out the sex of the baby without her or her brother.
She found out the sex of the baby. We're having a baby girl.
And then the clown strikes again, it's the same stuff, he kills someone, Lane doesn't suspect anything, he gets away with it, the body disappears, blah blah fucking blah. Now, the last 15 minutes of this movie are a lot to take in. So her stepbrother comes over and he's looking for his wife, and Lane finally starts to think that it's weird that ever since she brought this fucking stupid clown doll, people have been disappearing in her life. Like, how did you just realize this, you fucking idiot? So her stepbrother finds the bodies of Lane's friend, their mum, and his wife, and he decides to confront her on it. Meanwhile, Lane discovers that the clown is Oliver. Duh! And her water breaks. And while she's in pain on the floor, her brother just goes on about the bodies and doesn't maybe think that he should at least call someone so that his child is safely birthed? Like, okay, I know, you think your sister is a serial killer and killed your wife. Like, I get it, you're upset. But you've been making such a fucking fuss about this child. And do you not maybe think that calling the police and an ambulance would be better in terms of her not getting away with what you think she's done? Maybe make sure that your child is safely taken out of your sister before you chastise her for being a murderer? Your baby's life and her not getting away is kind of more important than you having a go at her, buddy. Anyway, the clown kills him, shocker of the century, and Lane has the quickest birth known to man, approximating at least a few minutes. And, okay, sorry, this what happens next is just really stupid, just bear with me, guys. So, the cops turn up after she's given birth, and the clown falls to the ground. It seems as though he's done with his murder spree for today. Lane leaves her newborn child that she was thinking of fucking stealing from her brother on the fucking floor, on the top floor, near stairs, that it could easily fall down. Like, not the most responsible move. And when the cops enter, we get this weird scene where the audio is echoed and slowed down, and it's just really uncomfortable to watch.
Baby. I can see a baby. See the baby.
And basically, they say that the baby is a boy, not a girl, like we were led to believe it was supposed to be.
It's a baby boy. It's a baby boy.
So now what's being implied here is that the doll fell to the ground when Lane was giving birth because Oliver caused his spirit to go into the baby, and now he's the baby. Somehow. I do not know how or why this happened, but it did. This is why an explanation as to why and how he got stuck in the doll is kind of important, because I don't understand why he didn't just make his soul go into Lane's brother earlier if he really wanted to get out of the clown doll. He's a strong-looking guy who boxes and has a normal life that you can just blend into the crowd easily with him. He's a good person to jump into if all you want to do is murder people, but then again, if that's all he cares about, and murdering people and getting away with it is really important to him, then wouldn't sticking to being the doll be the best thing to do? Like, no one except Lane knew that he was a murderer, and she only found that out because Oliver kept calling her and taunting her about what he was doing. Realistically, if he hadn't have done that, even she wouldn't have known that he was the doll. Not only is this ending stupid, but it's ridiculously dramatic for what it is. It's illogical and it doesn't help the plot. But I love it. Joker Clown is honestly one of the most absurd movies I've watched in a long time, and I love it way more than I thought I would. I actually can't remember the last time I watched a bad horror movie and enjoyed it this much. The last one was probably Zombievers, honestly, and I watched that ages ago now. There are major issues with the movie, obviously, one of the main ones being Lane, and the fact that she didn't die. In fact, she's the only one that didn't die, which kind of pisses me off, but it's an enjoyable experience, which, honestly, is all I'm ever really wanting from movies like this. My top ranking movies in this series are ones that I genuinely enjoyed and had fun watching mainly. Them being decent movies like Troll, on top of being like really entertaining to watch, is just kind of like the sprinkles on top of the cake, for me at least. Honestly, I think Joker Clown was pretty good, pretty enjoyable. It's obviously really bad, like it's badly made, like there's no question about that, but I liked it. In terms of where I'd place it on the list of movies I've watched so far for this channel, I'd place it under Troll, but above Circus Kane. I don't think that as a movie it's as competent or ridiculously camp and amusing as Troll, but it's definitely more enjoyable than Circus Kane. I mean, hey, I enjoy re-watching Circus Kane every now and then with a few glasses of wine in me, but I could watch this movie sober and still enjoy it, which I did for this review a couple of times. So, yeah. If you want to see my ranking, I've made a list on IMDb of the films that I've watched so far, and I'll be linking that list in the description. I'll be using that to show my rankings from now on, since it's kind of easier and it's better to document my progress so far. Plus this way you guys can just, you know, go check it. It's a bit easier than just having a list at the end of my video. But yeah, that's the video. I'm sorry that it took so long to finish or even start working on, but I'm going to be on a more YouTube-orientated grind for a while. My work's going to be quiet even when I go back to it because a lot of the stuff that we usually do is cancelled for the rest of the year, so I'm going to have a bit more time to be doing YouTube-related stuff. I'm not always going to be doing bad movie reviews, by the way. I've got other projects in mind, so just keep a lookout for that. But yeah, I hope you guys have been safe and responsible during this quarantine, and I hope you have a lovely day despite being stuck inside. Just try and make the most of it. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next video of whatever I decide to make next. See you later. Bye!
Help! Help! Help!